So there clearly wouldn't be time for me to go through all the development. I've only got a few minutes, but so I thought what we do is just look at one of the implementations, and in this example, you can see the screen with a bit of code on from Visual Studio 2019. It's showing the development for the send email class, and with the send email with attachment method. So what I'm going to attempt to describe how the dependency injection works, which is a technical term for meaning that at the shared project or the Xamarin Forms level, so the shared project level, you define how the screens will be, and then in the code you just say, well, I don't care how you're going to implement it, Mr. Android. I'm just saying to you, here's an interface. You've got to implement these methods and return these values, but go ahead and implement it in your world. So the Android device knows this because of the connections made basically by this assembly reference here. Here's the dependency injection coming along here, and it's saying that this is of type send email, and the interface here, I send email, is defined up here, and through these links here, this is how the system knows that this is a dependency injection. And then there's some references as well to the interfaces in the shared project log. So the shared project is called trace task. This one is called trace task.android. So that's the Android implementation. And so that is the way that this dependency injection works, and we had to develop all the other functionality. And then a bit that we'll talk again about is how to test, and I'll show that in the next screen. But here, the emulation shown here is for a pixel using Pi 9 of Android, which is the API version 28 for those who are technically minded, and this is implemented on Google Play. I've just put this on here as a reminder, and I captured this screen. So I hope you don't mind the blue and the red lines. It's for expediency. So in today's software development at least, and other industries to be fair, they use lean techniques. And with the advent of modern development of integrated development environments, or IDEs, which Visual Studio is, it comes from Microsoft, and the latest version is Visual Studio 2019. It's all what you see is what you get, so you can work on a requirement at a time and implement that requirement, and then go for another one. And that's why Kanban works, and Jira, and then because you're working on a list of requirements and delivering those on a task basis, you can use scrums, and you get daily progress. So it's gone the old days of waterfall, which still has its place, and I've used several times. But meeting every morning and seeing progress is just fantastic as a program manager, a project manager, or a scrum master, or whatever else you want to call it. So the first thing I needed to do was to learn Xamarin, which is Microsoft's mobile development platform. The idea is that you use Xamarin Forms, which is a lot like if you've done ASP.NET web programming, it's a lot like that. So you define your forms, your Xamarin Forms, and then underneath it you can define how Android is going to work, iPhone, how it's going to be implemented in iPhone, and or onto a Windows operating system. So it's a one for all, and the idea is that you have the Xamarin Forms shared project at the top, and then you have your implementations underneath. So I could only go for Android because the entry costs, the iPhone world meant that I needed an iPad. So you have to have a Windows platform talking to an iPad, talking to an iPhone. I don't have that kind of money around. I don't have those facilities. So I could only develop on Android. Windows, hardly anybody uses it anyway on a mobile. But that may change, and if it does, then I'll port my code down to iPhone and or Windows as needed. But in first instance, the application is implemented on Google Play, the Google Play Store, because of those reasons. So going back to development, so after learning and installing Xamarin, I went through each of the requirements. So I needed to understand the mobile navigation and flow that I wanted to implement. I needed to understand how to implement QR codes and QR code reading on the mobile. How to write to a JSON or CSV file. JSON is a data format. A CSV file can be read into Excel readily, or by integrating with other systems through some sort of web service or anything like that. CSVs are quite good at that. Although in the services world, you'd actually pass JSON, which is if you need to know about JSON, then you need to research that yourself. Then I need to understand how to implement geolocation, and the geolocation will work with satellite location. It's quite accurate if it's available, but obviously it's restricted by the libraries that I use within the application development environment. So if the satellite's not available, it should switch to more of a coarse location of wherever you get connected. So your house rather than a particular spot down in a garden. So then I needed to understand how to take a photo and send email. So all those things. So what I did, took them off in turn, and as I learned, I implemented it. So developed it. So here's my learning for some of them, and well, most of them actually. These are the links that I followed, and developed each one in turn. So